Hey there. So the term holistic, especially as it relates to like holistic health or wellness or holistic practitioners, is becoming a lot more common, a lot more sought after. I think a lot of people are looking for that holistic view and aid to their health. So I wanted to do a little lecture or educational seminar here about what that term holistic means, and particularly holistic wellness. So first, let's define wellness, which is a quality or state of being healthy, and it includes the body, the mind, and the soul. And then holism is the idea that the whole is greater than just the sum of its parts. So holistic wellness is a philosophy that a person is more than just a collection of organs, tissues, and cells. It looks at the whole person and not just their symptoms. One of the drawbacks of conventional medicine is that it tends to focus on symptomology, and we prescribe things to address symptoms rather than looking for root cause. So the holistic wellness approach actually attempts to understand the root cause. It also strives to help each person understand all the factors that contribute to their own health status. And it may use approaches from multiple methods. It may address things with the mind, the body, the soul, depending on the individual's needs. So to heal effectively, we need to incorporate these holistic modalities, and they can be used instead of or in addition to conventional procedures and pharmaceuticals. So some of the tools or methods or techniques that are used in holistic wellness, and we said they cross multiple areas, might include nutrition protocols. Those are going to focus on health goals or issues as well as individual preferences. We may include targeted nutrient supplements or functional foods, depending on individual need. Lifestyle practices, things that focus on activity, sleep, stress management. May incorporate herbs or botanicals. May use massage therapy or other types of body work. And may include healing methods that use energy, light, or sound. And if we look at something from Paul Bergener, something I learned when I was going through my holistic wellness pathway training, there are different ways of knowing or evaluating different approaches to healing. And we hear about these ways as certainly practitioners, but as individuals, we can also use them to kind of help us heal. So he classifies categories as directions, which are all important. So the north would be tradition, and that means tapping into the wisdom of our ancestors. Might be our own grandparents, might be the practices of people just in generations 2 or 3 times removed. The east is science. This would involve reading and understanding science, like clinical studies, scientific articles, discoveries. Then the south would be experience. And this is actually related to what you know, what you've tried, what you know works for you or doesn't work for you. And that's regardless of whether it does or does not work for someone else. And then the west would be instinct. And this isn't something that's proven by science, but maybe proven by experiment. So something you've tried. So use your knowledge combined with your intuition and see what might work for you. So one of the components of holistic wellness is a healthy soul or spirit. And a healthy soul has a sense of purpose and belonging. A healthy soul is sensitive to our own feelings as well as the feelings of others. A healthy soul is aware of the environment and the planet and our responsibility to protect them. So what can we do to promote a healthy soul? We can practice mindfulness, which is engaging in a conscious state of awareness or focus, and that can be applied to anything. It can be our physical state, our digestion, our emotions. We can perform breath work, deep breathing. We can journal, which is just a way of writing down. Expressing thoughts, ideas, emotions, intentions. The act of actually writing it down moves it from the subconscious to the conscious. So it makes it easier to realize it, and then if it's a problem, easier to resolve. We can listen to music. We can reach out for support when we need it, and this is really important. We need to recognize when we're overwhelmed. We need to recognize when we can't deal with something all on our own, and we should reach out to friends, family, or professionals when we need help. So a healthy mind is another component of our holistic wellness. A healthy mind is engaged, curious, and active, able to manage the challenges of life. And there are some techniques and activities that we can do to promote a healthy mind as well. We can read, we can play games, solve puzzles, learn new skills or subjects. Those are all going to contribute to a healthy mind. Along with the emotional and mind components, we talk about stress. So stress is a physical, mental, or emotional factor that causes a physical or mental reaction. It's referred to as the fight or flight mode. What happens physiologically is our blood pressure goes up, our heart rate goes up, our breathing rate goes up, our muscles tense, we release certain chemicals or hormones. We may have a strong emotional response. Our digestive function decreases and our kidney function decreases. So there are real physical effects of stress. The source of stress can be external, like something in the environment or something social, or it can be internal, like if we have an injury or we're ill. It can be a psychological or emotional source. It can be positive or negative. There are definitely positive stressors. It can be acute or chronic. And for our overall health, acute is okay, chronic is bad. Acute stress can actually strengthen our system. But chronic stress, if we're always in that flight mode, that's not going to be good for our system, because if you look at those physical symptoms where our digestive function's decreased, our kidney function's decreased, heart rate's elevated, if that's happening over and over and over and all the time, that's not going to be good. So chronic stress increases the risk and rate of infection and tissue damage. It does suppress our immune function. It creates systemic inflammation. It decreases those tumor suppressors that we naturally have in our bodies, and also, as we said, suppresses digestive function. That's kind of key, because think about it, when your digestive function isn't optimal, then you're not absorbing the nutrients you need. Every cell in your body needs those nutrients, so nothing's going to work right. And so we know we can't avoid or eliminate stress. We have busy lives, we have lots going on, but we need to be able to recognize what our stressors are, and we need to do our best to manage those. So we also have a physical component to holistic wellness. So a healthy body is nourished, and the proper nutrition is required to support physical as well as mental process. So ways to provide optimal nutrition: increase plant foods. We know that plant foods are linked through clinical studies to reduce risk for disease. They contain vitamins and minerals. They also contain a lot of phytonutrients that work together that we're just now studying to see what they do. Plant foods would be things like fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, herbs, spices, whole grains. We also want to consume clean sources of food. So this would be foods that are raised or produced from healthy, sustainable, regenerative methods versus conventional foods like where animals are contained in facilities for their entire life with no exercise, no sunshine, or plants that are sprayed with a lot of chemicals. If you want some more on that, I do have a clean eating lecture that you can listen to. We also want to consume foods that support our mitochondria because we believe that mitochondria dysfunction is probably at the root of most chronic disease. Mitochondria are those little energy powerhouses in our cells. And again, if we're not producing energy, our cells can't function, nothing is going to work right. I also have a lecture out there on mitochondria coming soon. We want to consume adequate amount of protein every day. And I do have a lecture out there that goes into more detail in protein. We want to consume healthy fats. We want to avoid or limit processed foods. There is more and more research that links processed foods, and particularly ultra-processed foods, to chronic disease. It's just the trans fats, hydrogenated oils, artificial sweeteners, artificial preservatives, added sugars, all of those ingredients in processed and ultra-processed foods are just promoting health issues. We also need to build an awareness of individual dietary needs and limitations. So that involves kind of individual genetics and our health status. What are our food sensitivities? Maybe we need to alter our diet to avoid certain triggers that cause health issues. A healthy body is also active. And what we found is that being sedentary is equivalent to smoking as far as the impact to our health. So we can improve our health significantly by simply making an effort to get up and move around rather than sitting. A healthy body is engaged in different types of physical activity. So cardiovascular activity uses our large muscle groups and increases our heart rate. That's what we usually think of when we think of exercise. Strength training targets specific and individual muscle groups. And then flexibility uses movement to help us stretch, which improves our posture, our balance, makes it easier for us to move. So examples of activities would include walking, running, jogging, cycling, swimming, dancing. Sports like team sports, baseball, volleyball, basketball, golf. Yoga, Qigong, or Tai Chi are specific postures or movements that usually incorporate both strength and flexibility. Even household chores like cleaning the house, gardening, or lawn maintenance, anything to move. And then last, a healthy body also has a healthy environment. So we need to evaluate our environment for potential sources of toxins and remove them if we can. One thing we've learned is that toxin exposure is a major contributor to many, many chronic diseases, especially autoimmune disorders and cancer. So what are examples of potential sources of toxins that we might want to evaluate in our own environments? The water that we use for drinking, bathing, washing our produce, or brushing our teeth. Food packaging and cookware. Personal care products like shampoos, soaps, cosmetics, lotions. Laundry products, cleaning products that we use either in our home or that are used in our office, lawn care products, and our home itself, our furniture, paint, wallpapers, flooring can all emit certain toxins that we need to be aware of. So a couple other things that are typically incorporated into holistic wellness. The first being sunshine. Sunshine exposure can actually improve physical and mental health. We know that exposure to sunlight soon after we get up every morning helps to set a normal circadian rhythm, which affects our quality of sleep. Sunshine is also a good source of vitamin D, and I do have a separate detailed dive into vitamin D if you want to take a look at that. And then grounding, which is also called earthing, is the practice of activities that ground or reconnect you to the earth. So scientific theory suggests that connecting with the natural electrical current of the earth will positively affect the electrical balance of our cells. And research suggests that that may have benefits for cardiovascular health, may reduce inflammation, may reduce pain, and improve our mood. So ways to ground: just go outside, walk around barefoot on the earth, or lie on the bare ground. That's easy. Submerge in a freshwater source such as a lake or an ocean. And then there's also a lot of equipment or products on the market that you can look at. So there are grounding mats, sheets or blankets, there's socks, there are bands and patches. There's a ton of stuff out there that you can take a look at that may help with this as well. So in holistic wellness, we've said that we look at the individual, we look at the factors that are affecting the individual's health and try to understand the root cause for what might be contributing to their health issues. We use these different tools and techniques, different methods to provide recommendations because we want these things to fit into the individual's lifestyle and their preferences. And then genomics is a new field of science that allows an individual to understand their actual genetic makeup and the gene variations they have. It also studies the interactions between different genes and genes in their environments, what impacts those have on specific diseases, and those can be used to kind of guide our lifestyle choices and promote holistic wellness. I do have coming up a nutrigenomics lecture that is going to be out sometime. So to recap, the holistic approach considers our mind, our body, and our spirit. We need a sense of purpose. We need a sense of responsibility. We need to stay curious and engaged. We need to manage our stressors. We need to nourish our bodies. We need to keep our bodies active. We need to connect with the planet as well as other people. And we need to understand our genetics. And we need to limit our exposure to toxins. Thank you so much for listening to this. I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea of what holistic wellness means and that you can use that to further your own personal health. Thanks.